What is up, YouTube? HPJ here, and I am coming at you guys with a discussion video to talk about the Mulcharmy, or is it Mulcharmy? Mulcharmy monsters. So, each of these monsters are a particular cutesy animal that kind of looks like a jellyfish, but only one of them is. The other two just look like creatures that are from outer space with cute little helmets on and are really squishy and adorable. I'm going to talk about these guys for a minute because they actually have a new monster that just came out. And not to mention, these guys are exponentially OMG. Wow, they're really expensive. Now, are they really excessively good? Maybe? Somewhat? Meh? But here's the thing. I don't hate a hand trap. I just hate when a hand trap is overly expensive and you have to spend hundreds of dollars on, well, one, but then you need a full set. You get my point. It's kind of like how the Ghost Girl archetype was, where every time a new Ghost Girl came out, she was abruptly secret rare, very expensive, and majority of the time we just waited for a reprint. So don't be surprised if the first two of the Mulcharmy monsters get reprinted in the next wave of 10s next year, and then on top of that get a rarity decrease just because people want to get them as soon as possible, because yeah, they're very expensive. So starting off with the first of the lineup for the Mulcharmies is Mulcharmy Puralia. This is a level 4 water attribute aqua type monster with 100 attack and 600 defense. Do note that each of the Mulcharmy monsters share a similar motif to them. That they are all level 4, they have 100 attack and 600 defense, and that they have an effect that during the end of the end phase, the number of cards in your hand must equal the number of cards your opponent controls plus 6. You shuffle back any number of cards that does not equal the total number of cards your opponent controls plus 6. Which I know sounds very confusing, but basically, let's say for instance your opponent controls 4 cards, and for some, in one or another, you've drawn 6. So you'll have to send back cards equal to the number of cards your opponent controls plus 6. So, and let's say you have 12 cards in hand, that'd probably make it more better. But let's say you have 12 cards in hand because your opponent did one of the actions the Mulcharmies did to summon a whole bunch of monsters. Then, at the end of the turn, you're like, okay, in phase, I now have to send all these cards back to the deck that I don't need, which of course is going to happen, so that you can be able to use, then you'll be able to send back cards that you don't need at that current point of time back to the deck and shuffle, so that way you can have the same number of cards your opponent controls plus 6. So your opponent controls 3 cards, you have 12, so you need to at least have 9 in hand. That's because it's whatever number of cards your opponent controls plus 6. So if they only have 3, that means you send back, or you only control 3, 6 plus 3 is 9, and you have 12 cards in your hand, you're basically sending back 3. And that's basically just to keep things crazy from happening, as well as the other part of their ability where you can only activate one other Mulcharmy monster effect per turn. So you can probably stack on 2 of these at the same time, but also note that you can only those are the only ones you can activate for the turn, because it does not include a card with its name. But also, I get where it's coming from. Excuse me, because they're trying to make sure it's not a whole Maxi Ash Blossom hand trap situation, where even though the hand traps themselves were limited because you only activate one card of that card's name per turn. Remember, many of them can be, you can use the other ones as well to stop other things too. So, good on them for trying to stop the multiples of that situation happening. Now, this monster's particular ability is that if your opponent normal or special summons from the hand, you get to draw a card. So decks that have cards that try to special summon from the hand, that special summon monsters from the hand, or do normal summons from the hand, this is where this Mulcharmy comes into play. So Puralura sorry, because I'm going to get these names wrong, will is basically anti-special summon from the hand monster. Anti-normal summon from the hand type of monster. Which, mind you, remember, normal summoning from the hand is already a mechanic in the game. There are cards that help deal with that, and this monster is basically one of them to help you draw into advantages of things. If you're playing for Wanderers, this card is good. If you play for Wanderers, and I hope you have Harpie Featherstorms in hand, it's the only way you can really get over this monster. Because, yeah, this card would definitely suck if you played for Wanderers and had to deal with that. In other decks, too, that tend to special summon, because Wanderers is the only one that I know that heavy normal from the hand. I think the other one may be, like, Monarch, who would have trouble with this, too, unless they have a way to shut down the effect beforehand. Or Call by the Grave. We also remember Call by the Grave is still at 1. So, yeah. We have its Winged Beast counterpart. This is Mulcharmy Furalos, which is known in the OCG as Mulcharmy Furaris. So it's a level 4, 100 attacks and 100 defense, but it is a Winged Beast type monster. And its effect says that when your opponent will such summon a monster from the deck or extra deck, draw 1 card. And let's be real, this card is probably the most expensive out of them right now, because this card definitely counteracts every deck in the damn game. Because, yeah, there are decks that special summon from either the main deck or they special summon from the extra. This monster comes from the most recent set in the TCG and OCG, Abyss. Oh, yeah, Rage of the Abyss. And it's funny to note, too, because while this card is cute and adorable, it being a hand trap does definitely, will take up some spaces in some decks. I have seen some people who literally did either pull this card by sheer coincidence or bought this card by sheer coincidence because of the fact that, yeah, this card does what was needed with Maxi was around. Although it's limited, because, it can only activate one other Mulcharmy effect per turn. If you combine this with the previous one, or combine it with the next one, it's going to be a deadly combination. Now, yes, I know, it's a level 4 wind attributed Winged Beast. I know. There are 2 cards that can help. There's a card that can help me get this to my hand. Well, look, if you can afford to pay for it, I definitely would run it. Only problem is that fitting a hand trap into the deck is already viable enough, and I already have my hands full with monsters like Mulcharmy. So sorry that the 100 plus price tag is an issue, but not all of us are attached to that. If it wasn't for that, I probably would stick around with this card. Not for just the fact that it allows me to draw a card whenever my opponent was such something from the deck or extra deck. No, I actually would run it in conjunction to that because of the fact that this cute little adorable birdie also can be a target for Swallow's Calray. The thing is, unless your deck runs level 4 Winged Beast monsters that are obviously, level 4 Winged Beast monsters that are able to be, used in that type of sense, and you wouldn't have much of an issue. Yeah, I would go for it. But I'm sorry, this is just something that, for me, nah, I'm good. But you guys can try it out with your hand. It's just, also remember you gotta run Ash Blossoms and Joyous Springs too to do negation of some stuff as well. It's a long, convoluted thing, but it does. And then we have the latest Mulcharmy monster. This is Mulcharmy Now Loose. So there's no official TCG name for it, but we're sure it's going to be named Mulcharmy. This is a level 4 Earth attributed Beast type monster. And its effect reads, whenever your opponent was such a summon from the banished or from the graveyard, you draw 1 card. So I remember a couple of weeks ago when we talked about Mulcharmy Fulos that at my locals, we also said that it was only a matter of time before they print another Mulcharmy that focused on Banish and Graveyard. And hell, Konami actually did it. So this monster, I believe, is supposed to be based off of a cat or kitten, because there's plenty of them in the artwork. And for the most part, yeah, this is just another variation of the Mulcharmies that's going to do some special summoning. Now, as far as I know, that should be about all the areas themselves that have been, looked at. Because deck. I mean, on the normal or special summon, you have a monster that does it on the special summon from the deck or extra deck. And now you have a card that does it on the special summon from the graveyard or that's been banished. So this definitely does reliably enough make you say which ones do I want to pick. Can I afford the full setup? And yeah, we know this card, while it's in the OCG, going to be a rare. TCG wise, no, this is going to be a secret in a quarter century. I've already called it. And I'm sure many of others are calling it as well. Because all three of these are amazing monsters. They all can fit in particular decks, but also be useful just as an overall consistency plan for when things hit awry and when you deal with certain decks. Like I said, okay, great. Excuse me, so expensive. Yeah, I'd use them in a heartbeat. But I'm going to have to wait for those rarity reprints. It's going to get reprinted again as the secret. Then it's going to turn around and then it's going to get a super variant. And then, oh look, structure deck, here's the common. Unless they decide to say, nah, we're going to make it a secret rare. And then you also have to remember which decks are going to take advantage of it as well. To want to really make it. Because sometimes hand traps just don't work in every deck. And sometimes stasis are limited as well. So, it is a very, courageous thing, but it's also just like, yeah, these cards are expensive. And they're going to be expensive to their reprint. And honestly, I said it. They're good cards. Just their price tag is what's going to hurt. Is what's hurting them, because not everybody can afford them, and it's one of those only the elite of Yu-Gi-Oh can get these cards right now. Because they do. And sorry, some of us, have bills to pay. Some of us have things we have to adult for. So we are never going to really get them unless we either draw, pull it out of the sets, or we just happen to get it off of somebody off of jank trade. And trust me, most things are not going to be jank trade considering how expensive these guys are. So my final thoughts on it is, yay, it's nice that we got the Mulcharmy monsters to look at for a new wave of hand trap, but they are just butt fucking expensive. And there's so many different ins and outs to them. Even some ins and outs I don't know of. So please do not quote me on being good with these, because I'm not. And definitely I know they're going to be very useful in the near future. Just, price tag drops and stuff like that have to occur first. But let me know what you think of all of the Mulcharmy monsters. Which one do you think will be more viable to things? Which one do you like? And definitely know which ones you'll be playing if you can afford them. So, with that said and told, I want to wrap up this video and say thank you guys so much for watching, because of course I always appreciate it. Those who are new to the channel, please definitely take the time to subscribe, because I do make new content as much as I possibly can. And I do enjoy, of course, playing the Yu-Gi-Oh! Trading card game and other things as well. So definitely take a look at that. With that said, don't forget to like, comment, share, and subscribe to the channel, as it helps out tremendously. Hit the notification bell to be informed of when I upload more content to the channel. Socials are in the description box below. Of course, there are going to be some changes with that as well. And if you guys would like to see previous content, you can always look at the previous video and the playlist. But also follow the channel for other videos as well if you would like to see those. So with that said and done, thanks everyone for watching. HJ signing out. Take care.